Welcome back, everyone. NicknLex here. Thank you so much for joining me today to this new episode of Music with Nick. Today I'm super excited. I got my Rush shirt on. This marathon I'm sure is going to blow away my socks, and I hope everybody else is. I thank you so much for being here, and thanks especially to Joe for sponsoring this awesome marathon. I guess you've already seen the names in the title, and yes, we're getting an all-star, prog super musician marathon together, which is, I can't wait to listen to all this. So there is some stuff that I'll read that Joe provided me with, or us with, and yeah, I mean, as you can see, the titles speak for themselves, the names of the bands and everyone. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff going on here. This is a second part of a marathon prior. So I wanted to thank, of course, Joe for sponsoring this video. You guys for being here, supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. And let's get into the email. So it says here's a follow-up marathon to one I did 11 months ago. Well, it's already been 11 months. That was called When 70s Giants Meet the 80s. See if we can do as well as that one did for you. Thank you. I'm sure it will. So it's called Joe's Jukebox, When 70s Giants Meet 80s Part 2. So the artist that we have is, of course, here we have Rush. This is called The Big Money, 1985, from Power Windows. I love the artwork on this one. I can't it reminds me of literally like the movie, because of the TVs, like the TVs look like in the movie Brazil. I don't know if I make sense, but it's like still life, but with not fruit. I love it. Then we got Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe. Birthright. I'm sorry. Birthright. I can't talk today. I don't know why. So, Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe, 1989. So this is the one album where we were gonna miss Chris Squire, right? Because I think that's when John Anderson left, and then everybody kind of joined him to make that album, and then they rejoined. Yes. Then Genesis. This is called Heathaze. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. From the album Duke. Yes, I get it. Duke has been kind of weird because I've been doing it like one song per song, and but I really like what I hear. 1980. Then David Bowie. I've always loved David Bowie. I only had the best of, but I was pretty much obsessed with that. And I did know some Pat Metheny. This is Not America, and of course the soundtrack of Labyrinth. So that was my kind of like Bowie experience before the channel. Ashes to Ashes, from Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, 1980. And then we got The Police, Oh My God, from Synchronicity, 83. And then there's some notes here from Joe. It says, for me, the last of their 5-star albums. So good, in the top 5 for sure. Then when Yes and members were fighting for the name similar to Pink Floyd, there were 2 versions of Yes this year. Oh, yeah, Yes with Pink Floyd. They reunited the next year, unlike Floyd. Exactly. What a bummer that was. Well, we got Momentary Lapse of Reasons, which is, for me personally, one of my favorite albums with David Gilmour. A top 3 Genesis album for me, the perfect blend of prog and pop. A Cruise in the Car album for sure. Great start to finish. And then not my favorite from the 80s. That would be Let's Dance. I love Let's Dance. But some songs I dynamite. This is one. All right. And then Love the Police, and that new wave meets reggae vibe. Love the album. Thank you so much for your for that. Joe, well, let's get into it. I'm always up for some 80s music, and I know how a lot of people are very 70s purists. I'm not like that, because I never knew the music in the 70s, so I can't only say, yes, it sounds more 80s, but I think it's just, I love that I can listen to 70s Rush, 80s Rush, 90s Rush, 2000s, and so forth. It's always the musicians are moving forward, and they're obviously they want to change their stuff while playing their instruments, and they want to, go with the time. So let's check it out. Let's start it off here with the Big Money Rush, and I can't wait. Here we go. Thank you so much, and boom. Okay, what happened? That's obviously Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe. I clicked, I swear I clicked on the Rush. Like, I'm not blind. Let's try again. Okay. Ridiculous. I love it. I mean, okay. It's wonderful. I mean, you know, it's Rush. I mean, look, permanent waves, moving pictures, signals, grays under pressure. It's like there's so much music being released very, very shortly. It still sounds literally like, you know, like I would, you know, like moving pictures, but like there's still, you know, intros, there's still interludes, there's still a lot of time signature changes, there's great solos, there's the bass lines, there's hooks, there's all kinds of stuff that Rush does so well. The only thing I would say is different is the sound, a little bit of the instruments, maybe because, you know, I can't really say, because Moving Pictures is the one album that I've heard like the most, but I can't really say that they sound like different from the musical aspect. You know, it's still like, but it maybe he's using an electronic drum set in part, right? And then maybe Geddy's using a little bit more synth. His bass sounds a little bit different. Maybe it doesn't sound as, you know, as like his tone that he has on the 70s stuff. But hey, everything sounds so good, and it's three guys making all this beautiful noise. You know, the drumming is just off the charts. The solo was beautiful, like the way he layered it with like harmonics, ding 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 ding. Just let it ring, you know, very atmospheric with the chords of the keyboard. It's just wonderful. Like it's like everything works. The solo, it was not too much. There wasn't too many like, you know, it was just beautiful. It was all relaxed, and it just sounded fantastic. Like I can't find enough good stuff in this song. You know, it just sounds like the three members of Rush just playing with maybe a different setting on their sounds, you know, a little bit more on the reverb, you know, there's a little bit more reverb and delay and everything. But that's very 80s. That's just a thing that everybody was doing. So it just is a sound of the time, you know, and then I'm sure they stopped doing it in the 90s. But I think this is an amazing track, and I mean, what else is there to say? It's just Rush, you know. It's the same brains playing on different instruments, you know, or different instruments, different equipment. That's basically it. And, you know, also with different equipment, you get different ideas, you incorporate stuff. I Neil, the way he was like, you know, using what he has in his arsenal and his talent, just, you know, to make different sounds. And I like that. I like when bands, you know, because of the times, like, oh, look what came out. Like, what is this kind of keyboard? Okay, let's try. Oh, this sounds kind of weird. Let's use it. You know, I would do the same. You know, I wouldn't just like use the same 70s equipment, 60s equipment you know, all through my 40 years of my career. I would just not do it. So that's what a lot of people have problem with. They want the bands to sound the same for 40 years. It's impossible. I mean, that happened with one of my favorite bands, Metallica. They changed. They had to, they slowed down. They got into the country stuff, you know, and I was just like not going along for the ride. Now when I listen to it, I'm like, that's amazing. I love it, you know, because it's just a band evolving. They're getting older, you know, they're changing with time. So I think this is an amazing track, and I can't wait to listen to more of the album. Now let's go with also, this is 80s Yes. Okay, so this outing here obviously doesn't have Chris Squire. Let's see how that sounds. You know, I want to see how Anderson sounds without Squire. Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe. Birthright. So we all know what happened, you know, here, and let's give it a listen. Beautiful artwork. And flamenco.
were beat, looking after number one. They released the fear inside, are human after all. So begins our dream time. They hunted like the dinosaur. We the pure, they the savage innocent. How we crush our existence after all. Come on, but we know that we are lonely. This England, we are blind. Like all the empires crumble, we'll surely change the tide. This place ain't big enough for red and white. This place ain't big enough for stars and stripes. This place, this place, this place, this place. This there's my birthright. The sun gives better reasons. United we are blind to deliver our existence. Give it up, give it up, give it up this human time. Give it some. We can break the ties of recent changes. No more one to hold the key. Singing out the congregation. We are them and they are we. This place ain't big enough for red and white. This place ain't big enough for stars and stripes. This place, this place, this place, this place, this place, this place is theirs by their birthright.
My God. This.
Tipo, lista. Tipo, lista, tipo, please. Como es esto, mamá?
Wow. Wow, man. I mean, I'm so sad that Alexia couldn't listen to this, but you know, we can always make another reaction with her. This is so good. I mean, this is just a combination of these amazing four musicians. And by the way, two of my favorite bass players on this planet play on this record, according to Wikipedia. If I'm wrong, correct me, but Tony Levin. I mean, Tony Levin, when I was like when I first listened to Liquid Tension Experiment, I never had heard King Crimson or Peter Gabriel or anything by Tony Levin. But my first experience was 1999 Liquid Tension Experiment with Jordan Rudess, Mike Portnoy, John Petrucci. So Dream Theater with Tony Levin, and that just blew my mind. Like, what kind of bass player, he is. And then another Jeff Berlin, who is literally on almost all Alan Holdsworth albums. At least, my favorite ones. I mean, all of them, all of them are my favorite ones. There's not one bad one. But yeah, Jeff Berlin was also a lot on Just Live Holdsworth. So it also says here that Tony Levin did the European tour of this and Jeff Berlin did the American tour. So, I mean, it's just like a win-win for my ears to hear Bill Bruford, John Anderson and Steve Howe and Wakeman, all together doing this like special album, because it doesn't really sound like Yes. It sounds like John Anderson with a bunch of like amazing musicians. It doesn't have that Yes vibe, because this sounds more like ethereal, and it sounds like almost like you're going into some kind of like dream, and like this is what Alexia loves so much about John Anderson: the mysticism, the beautifulness, and we have tickets, thank God, for John Anderson, and I think that's what she loves so much about Yes. It's not the progginess, and yes, she does love the progginess, but she loves his voice, and she loves just what he stands for, which is like this peaceful man singing from the heart. And you can hear that, you can feel it in the music, and here in this project, you can just like, it overwhelms you with beauty. Everybody was doing just the drumming here by Bruford, beautiful, just to fill out what was necessary. The chords by Wakeman, giving this beautiful canvas, to paint on, with the bass by Levin and Berlin, and the beautiful voice John provided, and beautiful acoustic guitar by Steve Howe. Man, I have to listen to this, but yeah, definitely gonna like save it for a full album or something. This was just beautiful. But yeah, definitely gonna sit down, Alexia, and I'm gonna try and just like, hey, just close your eyes, just chill. That's for 6 minutes. I'm sure I can get her, because this is something I would like you guys to see how she reacts. I don't know. Okay, so next one, Genesis. Honestly, if you would ask me right now, what has been the best thing out of your whole experience doing this channel, I would say yes, Steely Dan, but I think I'm fighting, what's better, Steely Dan or Genesis. I do know more Steely Dan, because we did all the albums so far. We have listened to almost everything except the last two, which I'm not too crazy about, but everything else from their first album to Gaucho and then beyond, and everything that Donald did after is just amazing. But Genesis is just, that's a little bit tad more my, I don't know, I guess I love all the classical stuff Tony Banks does, and I love Phil, and I love Peter, and I love everything that Genesis stands for. So this, obviously, Duke is without there's so many Steves, Steve Hackett, Steve Howe, Steve Hackett. So Duke, just one quick look here. Duke, I just want to see the lineup. Duke album. Okay, 1980. So we have, I'm sure it's Phil, Mike, and Tony. Yeah, so 3. And then there are 3, right? So yeah, so this is called Heathaze. And let's give it up for Genesis. I love 80s Genesis. Like I just can't find anything to this like here, but let's go for this.
no cloud, a sleepy calm, sun-baked earth that's cooled by gentle breeze, and trees with rustling leaves. Only endless days without a care. Nothing must be done. Silent as a day can be. Far off sounds of others on their chosen run. As they do, all those things they feel give life some meaning. Even if they're down, it's time to stop this dreaming. Must rejoin the real world as revealed by orange lights and a smoky atmosphere. The trees and I are shaken by the same wind, but whereas the trees will lose their withered leaves, I just can't seem to let them loose. And they come refresh me, those hot winds of the south. Oh, I feel like an alien, a stranger in an alien place. Now the light is fading fast, chances slip away. The time will come to pass, and there'll be none then addicted to a perfume poison betrayed by its aftertaste. For we shall lose the wonder and find nothing in return. Many are the substitutes, but they're powerless on their own. Beware the fisherman who's casting out his line into a dried up riverbed. But don't try to tell him, 'cause he won't believe. Throw some bread to the ducks instead. It's easier that way. Feel like an alien, a stranger in an alien place. The trees and I are shaken by the same wind, but whereas the trees will lose their withered leaves, I just can't seem to let them loose. And they come refresh me, those hot winds of the south. Feel like an alien, a stranger in an alien place.
Wow, man. Like, what can you say after this? There's like almost like speechless, you know. My coffee like creates like this I have it on this heating pad that Alexia gave me, and sometimes I add a little bit of milk, and that milk becomes like like this disgusting like little. I know the word in Spanish. It's called nata because it creates like a filter, and it was stuck to my mouth. I was like disgusted. Okay, back to the music. I'm so glad that Phil, I mean, I love Peter Gabriel's Genesis, and that's that, right? There's nothing out like it. But then I can say the same thing about Phil Collins. I love that he took over from his drumming duties to singing and drumming, because it's just like it is a different sound. And I love Peter Gabriel's voice, and I love Peter Gabriel's albums as an artist, but I love his Genesis stuff, and I love them the same. I can't see, I like this one better. They're just perfect. I love Phil Collins in also as a solo artist, but when he does Genesis, there's so much feel here in the drumming, the way he plays. I love this whole, it was more like a ballad. You know how like Tony Banks starts with these chords, and it's just him and Phil Collins playing these beautiful voicings, and then Tony, Mike Rutherford comes in with the guitar. It looks like a 12-string, and plays along beautifully, and it's just like this beautiful like tale. And I was reading along, but I was also trying to pay a lot of attention to the music, and just like the way everything goes. And then Mike comes in with this fretless. I think it's a fretless. It sounded like boom, this fretless sound. Let me see if it's well, it says bass pedals. I don't know, bass guitar. It doesn't matter, but the way he was playing the bass so subtly, so beautifully, boom, 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 boom. Just adding these little voices instead of like boom, 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 boom. It's all so thoughtful. This is just a wonderful song, and that's why I love. I know this is very early 80s Genesis. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they got too pop. I honestly don't care. It's still the same people, and like I said, they're just trying to explore more musical outlets. And also, like, let's be realistic. I mean, if you were in a rock band, you want to make money, right? Like, I've never really played in a successful band. I've played in bands, but we needed to. They told us what to play. We couldn't just get there and play jazz for 3 hours. Yeah, that you have to be in a jazz club for jazz listeners, and then when you get paid. But in a hotel, where people come and they want to dance, they want to drink, they want to have fun. We couldn't just play. We played like one jazz tune. Everything else was reggae. And which is a lot of fun, but we were doing Beatles reggae, Doors reggae, we were doing everything reggae, because it's just, and sometimes maybe you don't feel like playing reggae, but you have to give the audience what they want. And I mean, in a time like the 80s, maybe there were obviously, yes, there's a lot of prog heads, and they want to keep listening to normal prog music. But as a band, if you want to stay relevant and make the big bucks, and you also have to change your sound. I know this is unfortunate, but this is just the truth. And rather than saying, I stopped listening to Genesis after Duke, because I just like I rather listen to them and see what it is, and and discover, and I can always take something to learn, especially as a musician, even though if it's maybe it sounds cheesy, maybe it sounds super repetitive, the music, but it's still Genesis. It's still from these amazing minds, these people have, and they're trying, their best to come up with something to keep their machine going, and to also keep making money. And I it's so crazy how hard it is to make money being a musician nowadays. That's why I'm not even trying, because yeah, I mean, I can try and record music for myself, and I do that, but it's for me. I'm not going to put it on Spotify or YouTube. It's for me. It's my I'm self. I'm happy with what I'm doing because I'm like, well, I'm playing this music that I love and I listen to it and I love what I do, you know. But it's literally pointless at this stage, you know, to release music. The way music right now is handled and being distributed and what they want you to play. I could literally play one chord and put a little stupid beat above it, and that would probably sell, you know. But I wouldn't feel, you know, realized. I don't know. It's an odd thing, you know. But as a band as big as Genesis, you have to continue, you know. And I think that's why there's a couple of bands that just stopped, you know. Like Pink Floyd, there's like this stop, you know. Like there was 1983, I think, the final cuts, and then momentary lapse of reason, and then 10 years nothing, I think, because of just the music, what was going on, and then, you know, and then another 20 years nothing, you know. So sometimes it's just better not to play anything, I guess. Okay, so David Bowie. So now I know more 80s David Bowie than 70s David Bowie, because that's just what was on the disc, the 80s. I think Let's Dance and stuff like that. And I think some Pat Metheny. This Is Not America. I think that's very 70s because it's, but I'm more familiar with 80s Bowie. And I also love how he kind of like shifted his whole voice and it went lower and lower. And I love that because early Bowie is like, you know, it's like high pitched, not high pitched, but just normal. And then he gets like this low, and he has like this charm, you know, when he sings, you know. I can't do it, but I wish I could. But I've always loved Bowie when he does this low, really like, I don't know, maybe in Ashes to Ashes we'll hear it. But here we go with Scary Monsters, and this is also from 1980. So here we go. So creative.
It's true. They got a message from the action man. I'm happy, hope you're happy too. I've loved all I've needed love. Saw the details fall away. The shrieking of nothing is giving, just
like this man like literally gives me goosebumps. Like it's so, there's something about him that is so special, and I've always been such a fanboy of Bowie. Like, I don't know, and I've never really heard everything, but just the 10 songs I know, 15, just like, it's beautiful. Let's go back because I interrupted.
Saw the details fall away. The shrieking of nothing is giving, just pictures of chap girls and synthesis. And I ain't got no money and I ain't got no hands. But I'm hoping to kick with this planet is glowing. Ashes to ash and funk to funky. We know Major Tom's a junkie, strung out in heaven's high, hitting an all-time low.
So good. What a trip. I love this man so much. So I'm looking at the best of Bowie because I was like, have I heard this before? I don't know. It didn't sound like super familiar, but it's David Bowie. He doesn't have a style, you know. So it's but it's on there. It's on there, and on disc 2. You know, I don't know. Maybe I was listening more to disc 1, but there's a lot of songs that I don't recognize. I am on disc 1, so it's, you know, it wasn't in my Discman like all the time. You know, I maybe listen. You know, when you buy a CD and then you have like, I don't know. I had like an entire hard drive full of music downloaded, so. I guess, I don't know. I just don't remember this one, but this was so good, and it was on the best of. Under Pressure, Heroes, like Sound and Vision. I did that with Alexa, and I'd never heard it before, so I guess I must have missed some. This Is Not America's on here. That I clearly remember that. Then Dance. Where's Dance? Let's Dance. That's kind of weird that it's not on there, you know. But well, it doesn't matter, you know. Like I just obviously want to be as honest as possible with, you know. But you know, I think one of the best videos like Alexa and I have ever done are the ones are reacting to the songs we've already heard, because we know kind of like what to expect, but we really haven't heard it like this, you know. And I mean, when we re-listen to The Wall or Animals by Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin 4 or stuff like that, that was just amazing. That was the best experience ever, listening to those albums when we did it in front of, you know, like filming us like this. You know, because you pay so much more attention. When you listen to music, sometimes you're doing something, you're writing something, or you're on the computer, you know, you're looking at something. But this is, I guess, the most focused I've ever been doing a task. You know, like when I get a marathon and say, hey, you know, listen to these 5 songs. I'm there 100%. I'm paying 100% attention to every freaking detail, and that is, I guess, a totally different experience, because when you are alone and you're like, oh, I'm gonna listen to someone like Pat Metheny or some Stan Getz, you kind of get lost and maybe in the book that you're reading, or you're looking at a magazine. It's very rare that I see people that actually sit down and just listen to music, you know, just listen. And sometimes even your eyes, with your eyes closed, is the best. I can't sit here with my eyes closed, you know. I mean, I would love to, and I do it sometimes. But I mean, just the fact that I have to and want to pay attention so I can talk about the music is fantastic. It's literally like, almost like you have to sit here and you better pay good attention, because I want you to talk about this afterwards, you know. So that is something that I love doing, you know. I mean, all the instruments that were involved right now in this track, and the voice and the way he manages those pitches, and dum 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 bum bum, like, just such a creative guy, you know. Like, I'm always gonna miss this man. There's like some artists that I can't get over, you know, like Holdsworth, David Bowie, Prince, you know, that I just can't understand that they're gone, and too soon, you know. So yeah. All right. This is the last one. Police, like, I've always been sort of a Sting fan, because my mom got me into Sting. I think when the second album, Englishman in New York, those songs were like always in the car. And but I didn't really know about Police. Like, I had no idea. So I always saw him as a solo artist. And then when I found out, I did know about Roxanne and songs, but I didn't know it was the Police, you know. So let's go with Oh My God. And here we go with another, like, geniuses, like 3 people that are amazingly talented, playing like something between fusion and reggae, and just being incredibly creative. All right. Yeah, that's when Sting said, I'm gonna leave you guys, I'm gonna go solo. No, because he became obviously very jazzy, and I love that about him. But his voice here was so good. Copeland on the drums and Summers on the guitar, and that bass line, just so catchy. There's such a good hook in there, and I love that band. Really cool voice here by Sting, and just wonderful. This whole marathon was just amazing. Wow. I've guess I've talked a little bit too much, but hey, it's just what I feel, and I thank you for being there, for listening to, like, whatever you want to call this, reaction video, podcast, show. People are like, I like your show. I'm like, okay, I didn't know I had a show. It's just like Alexia and I were more about the whole experience than just like, oh, like, yes, obviously sometimes I use a thumbnail, with a silly face on, so people are like, oh wow, what was his reaction? But in the end, it's all about talking about the music, and there's nothing that's gonna, like, rock me out of my chair and make me fall out of my chair, because those videos are just not real. Nobody reacts like that. It's just not real. It's like, I would never want to do anything fake, like that would be like lying to the audience. It's just incredible what I see on YouTube, what people do to get attention is just crazy. So I don't know. But hey, thank you so much, show. This was an amazing set of music. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel if you like this. Like the video, share it. If you don't like the videos, they don't get pushed out. YouTube is I don't know what they're up to. I don't know what their plan is, but some videos are just like, I don't know. They're just like not being watched, and I posted a guitar solo. It has like 500 views. 500 views out of 96,000 people. Like, I can't believe that 96,000 people would only 500 people would watch that guitar solo. Look, so it's obviously something with the videos. Some videos get pushed out, and then if somebody else plays the guitar solo, then 50,000 people watch it. It's just super bizarre. I can't make it out. I don't know the algorithm, and honestly, I've given up. It's just like, let's just have fun, and I hope this community becomes bigger and bigger, and and everybody stays happy, and that's what I want. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Joe, for sponsoring this awesome video, and I'll see you in the next one.